101 Country KPNC. Keith Urban, Brown Eyes Baby, and Shannon Mallory in studio with us this morning. Good morning, Shannon.
You almost make it sound like that was our duet there. I guarantee I cannot sing quite that well.
Not quite.
I'll try.
I mean, we can give it a shot.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, press record right there. We're doing it live. You heard it here first. Oh man. Well, it's good to see you, Jimmy.
Good to see you, Shannon. Missed you last week.
Yeah, I was at Big 12 Wrestling Tournament in Tulsa. That was a blast. OSU did better than they were supposed to, but not as good as they normally do, which is winning the whole thing. So,
right.
But they did well. They actually qualified all 10 wrestlers for
that's
the
incredible.
national tournament.
That's one sport I've never really learned or kept up with.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. If you have any questions, Jimmy, just call me.
I've got somebody giving me some pointers now.
Yeah, but no, today it is the first week that I have been in the office all week in a long, long time. Just kind of recovering from the livestock show.
Right.
And
a lot
of
stuff going on.
Catching up with a bunch of stuff. Yeah. But we've been getting a lot of phone calls about just what I would call drought-stressed trees.
Okay.
And, a lot of our evergreen trees right now, even our eastern red cedars, believe it or not, are starting to show signs of drought stress. We're still in a D4 exceptional drought, which is the highest level of drought that our drought monitor has.
Okay.
So just a quick reminder out there to people, if you have trees in your landscape that you'd like to keep, that's the qualifier. If you want to keep that tree,
if you want to keep it, water
you
it.
should be supplementing water, and we're talking about like a half inch every 3 to 5 days.
Okay.
Or so. What normal rainfall we would expect, and I guess basically since about the beginning of the year, we've only had about 2 inches of rain in Kay County. So that's not enough for
not
our
near
early,
enough,
and it's definitely not breaking our drought. But especially if you have these non-native species like pine trees, if they're turning yellow and stuff like that right now, very likely
water.
Drought stress. They're from southeast Oklahoma, that gets normally 20 inches more rain per year than our average, and we're well below average. So they're very stressed right now. Pin oaks and then any other ornamental trees. I know I got a call about some holly trees and magnolia trees and I was driving by on Grand. We saw a couple of stressed out magnolia trees.
Yeah.
So that's likely what it is, in a combination with we have had a couple of sub-zero temperatures kind of come through, and that'll do it too. But water your trees if you want to keep them.
Very important.
Is the TLDR on that one. Yeah. But the main thing we wanted to talk about, and I wouldn't be a great extension educator if I didn't mention it nearly every time we're on air. Soil testing. Yes.
I got that answer right.
There you go, Jimmy. Yep. It is what I would call its traditional soil testing season. There's really never a bad time to soil test, unless it was a year ago or something like that.
Right.
That was just too long. But ideal time for soil testing is when you're about to plant new plants or establish a new yard.
Right.
Or something like that. And, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get a soil test result back. Well, we put ourselves 3 weeks from now. We're right at the beginning of April. We're really about to start our gardens and get past that final freeze date.
And real quick, is this something we should do every year, our soil testing?
We recommend doing it every
year before you plant your garden or whatever you're going to plant.
A lot of people who have an established yard, a yard that they've had for years and years
yes.
and haven't reseeded, they'll soil test this time of year.
Okay.
The only exceptions would be like our farmers who are planting wheat. Well, they're not going to plant wheat until September, October. It's just a little bit too early to go conduct a soil test.
But before planting each season, it's a good idea to go ahead and get a test.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. But anyway, great time to do soil testing. It is $10 to do a routine test sample at the OSU Extension office, or any Extension office for those of you guys who may be listening at another county. You can drop it off at Noble County, Grant County, Osage County, any of those offices, and it is a really good way to find out the nutrient content of your soil and how much fertilizer, if any, you need to put down.
Okay.
The only other information it'll give you is the pH of your soil. So if your pH is outside of the acceptable range, which is usually between 6.0 and 7.0, it'll make a recommendation to amend that with lime or something like that to get it in the correct range.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's the gist of what it gives you to get basically like the good foundation
Okay.
for your soil. That's not to say that you won't still have some kind of problem,
Right.
with it,
Right.
but we're going to know the nutrients are there and the pH is right, which is probably some of our most common problems that we have.
And you can take that information and move forward with what needs to be done.
That's exactly what you use it for. Yeah. So we know why we soil test and stuff like that. How do I do it?
That was my next question.
Yes. A good soil sample is not going out to one spot in your yard, digging a small hole and filling your Ziploc baggie and bringing it in.
You kind of want to average, if you will.
Exactly.
Get a few spots throughout the yard.
You want a composite sample, as they call it.
Okay.
So if you're in your front yard, and granted, if you've got a 10-acre front yard, this is not applying to you. But if you've got a
right.
4,000 square foot yard, you're going to go to 15 random locations around that yard, dig down 6 to 8 inches deep, which luckily it's rained just a little bit, so maybe it's softened the ground just a little bit for us, using a shovel or a soil probe. And I carry around a 5-gallon bucket, and I just go down through all those locations and kind of put it into a 5-gallon bucket.
Okay.
Your bucket should not be overflowing after this. Like, you do not need a ton of dirt. You just need a cylinder of dirt, or a core. Yeah.
From each sample place.
Exactly. So you'll go around to those locations. We actually have tools called soil probes at the office you can check out if you'd like to. Granted, that requires you to drive all the way up to Newkirk, But anyway, you take those, knock them into the bucket, and then once you get those 15 core samples for your single sample, you mix it up with like a hand shovel or just your hand or something like that, and then transfer that into either a Ziploc bag, paper bag. If you want to stop by our office and pick up the official sample bags, you can put it right in there, and makes me not have to transfer it. Yeah,
I'll be ready for them.
Exactly. But again, that's gonna. We really only need probably 2 coffee cups of soil.
Okay.
I tell people it's not a ton of soil for that area, but you need to make sure it's an average sample. It's a composite sample, because you never know. You might have sampled the one area where the dog goes to the bathroom
all the
lot
time,
or something.
so it's always good.
Exactly. Yeah, you never know what's wrong with it. But yeah, we have a lot of people who will do like their front yard, their backyard, their flower garden. If you've got different areas where you traditionally grow different types of plants, we have tailored test results for those types of plants. So like, I know I've got it for tomatoes, I know I've got it for peppers and stuff like that.
Right.
If your yard is a fescue yard versus Bermuda, we have that. There's little nuances of with what type of soil conditions they like.
Okay.
So yeah, there's more extensive testing you can do as well. There's micronutrients, secondary nutrients, and then you can also do a soil texture analysis, so you can find out how much clay, silt, or sand is in your soil.
Find out exactly what all you have and how much.
But anyway, that's the gist of it. Is it's soil testing season, and we've already had a lot of people coming in, but we're ready for you. And we mail it off to our lab in Stillwater, and usually hear back the results in 2 to 3 weeks. And I give you a phone call and talk to you about the results and what to do
and what steps to take next,
where you can find fertilizer or something like that. I mean, I get a lot of people who are like, where do I even buy agricultural lime? And I'm like, yeah, that I didn't know that before I started working extension.
Right.
So you've got to go find places to find some of this stuff, but it's out there.
And
so,
you have the resources to help with that. So give them a call. Go see them in Newkirk at the, what's your address?
226 South Maple Avenue. I had to look on there too, Jimmy. You got me off guard almost. Yeah.
I apologize. It's been one of those days.
Well, we moved there a year and a half ago. You'd think I'd remember it.
Right. I understand. And again, that sample, $10 cash or check only, yes?
Yes.
All right.
Correct.
And you'll be back in with us next week?
I plan. No, I won't. I'll be at NCAA Wrestling Championships in Tulsa. It's wrestling season.
It's wrestling
for me.
season.
Look, we just got done doing all the livestock show, and then I go take my kind of vacations a little bit.
I completely understand.
So I'll be rooting on our wrestlers. It will be what they call the blood round.
Okay.
Which is where most of the guys have lost a match already, and they are fighting to stay alive.
Fighting
it's a
to get
blast
back
to go
into
watch
it.
that. Yeah, that'll be Friday morning on that, so it'll be a good time.
Well, have fun, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right, see you, Jimmy.
Thanks for stopping by. We got some Jason Aldean and then Jelly Roll up next here on 101 Country.
Local owners, local